So first off, this video has to do with the importance of training in our Second Amendment, how this could influence your everyday carry, because in my opinion, at any time in any city, any city USA, we could have federal agents patrolling for whatever reason. And if you got to know the things you are and are not allowed to do. And then we also just got to talk about the amount of training that some of these agents are going to be going through and how that should kind of influence your decision making as you exercise, in my opinion, the three most important of rights in the Bill of Rights is the First, Second, and Fourth Amendments. We'll get there in a second, but we all know what happened today. I did take some notes to make sure I try to get stuff as accurately as possible. I summarize this stuff, drop videos on the screen when appropriate. At least 7 federal agents this morning around 9 a.m. local time shot and killed Alex Jeffrey Pretti. Now, I say several federal agents were involved in an incident. We don't know how many actually agents shot. From the video, it kind of looks like 2. We know at least 1. He was a 37-year-old man who was an ICU nurse for the Veterans Administration Hospital. Pretty important position, in my opinion. I mean, you're working for us vets. He kind of gave off like classical vet with like the 5'11" style trousers. He allegedly was carrying a SIG P320. Had a SIG sight on there. Normally somebody that's like serious about their everyday carrying in their CCW would carry a nice weapon like that. One thing I want to take note is that I did say federal agents. I didn't say ICE, because DHS, Department of Homeland Security, has more than ICE underneath their bucket, and we don't know exactly who those agents were per se. It looks as if he was not an ICE agent, but the shooter were, that they could have been from Customs and Border Patrol. Now, specifically that part of Department of Homeland Security, CBP, is headed by Gregory Bavino. And it looks like if they were the actual shooters and not ICE, we tend to use ICE and Immigration and Customs and Enforcement as like a catch-all, but it could be any of those type of agents. As always these days, there is a video. Matter of fact, several videos of the shooting, a number of different angles to look at. It's easy if you see them put together what happened. If you view one in a vacuum, it's a little bit harder, but also there's more evidence that we don't have, like what happened prior to him like waving through those vehicles. And it looks like he was filming an altercation on the street, but we don't have like a lot of video before that. There are a number of videos, and one thing I want to say that I've learned is that as you learn more facts, your first opinion and the first thing that you judge a situation on often changes as more facts come out. As for instance, when they first reported this, they said the guy was 51 years old. Clearly he was not. But the first video I saw, it did look like Pretti standing on the street in Minnesota, directing traffic around an area where there were ICE agents or some type of federal agents. Now, there's not a lot of people there. It looks like he's filming something else going on in the street. Why was he in the street? I'm not really sure. He's filming what's going on, which the Supreme Court has said that filming is a First Amendment right. You're allowed to film. The fact that he's in the street is something that will be coming, I guess, in whatever investigation takes place. And by the way, there are definitely people on the street other than him. So from what I see on the videos is that at a certain point, they push a woman down, and it seems to be that Pretti tries to put himself between the woman and the agent that pushed the woman down. And then they both begin to get pepper sprayed. The woman plus Pretti begin to get pepper sprayed. He still has his body in between the agent and the woman. And then it seems like he enters into a scrum. I can't tell if agents pull him into a scrum or he backs into the scrum, but he's in a scrum, and it's at least 5 agents around him initially. One thing that a lot of people do agree with is that at that point, his waistband is still covered. In his right hand, he has a camera. He's filming. Side note, where's that camera? Where's that footage? And his left hand is empty. So the knowledge that these agents have is that this guy is impeding or not impeding whatever they got going on, and that he's filming. And I don't know if they want him on the sidewalk, if they don't want him on the sidewalk. Now, at this point, he's pepper sprayed. He's like mostly on the sidewalk. I don't know if they decided they're making the arrest because he was in the way. I don't know. These are the things that would come out in the investigation. But he gets pulled into a scrum. At this point, I think they've made the decision. He's getting arrested. And at that point, he had been pepper sprayed. It doesn't appear as if he was fighting back. He does look like he was in kind of like a downward dog, bracing himself, and he had his hands on the ground and he had his knees up. I kind of thought he was trying to wipe his face. I also kind of thought he was bracing himself as all these people were jumping on top of him. I think, objectively, we could say that it's not clear exactly what was happening in that moment. But also in that moment, his jacket and shirt raised to the point where his waistband is exposed, and an agent yells gun. Now, when an agent yells gun, one agent takes the gun from his holster. Another agent draws his weapon at the same time. And within 3 to 5 seconds after they yell gun, the one that we can't tell if it's the person who drew his weapon or someone else shoots him seemingly in either the back or the back of the head. And they begin to make like a horseshoe around him, and then they unload. It seems to be an additional at least 7 to 10 rounds into his body while he's laying on the ground. Now, it's kind of hard to watch. I'm not going to keep it real with you. And these are things that would come out in the investigation. Is like, why was he trying to keep his head off the ground? Did he reach for the weapon? A lot of people have been arguing that he didn't because he no longer had it anymore. I mean, it was taken away by an agent. At least a gun was not in the hand of an agent. And then a few frames later, a gun was in the hand of an agent, and that agent didn't draw the gun from his own holster. So where'd the gun come from? People are saying that it came from the lower back of Pretti. I guess that will come out in the investigation as well. So we see exactly, those are kind of like the hard facts that we have. That agent turns and leave. He's starting to walk away. His back is to the scene. We hear that first shot ring out, and then Pretti stops moving. After that, like I said, at least 7 to 9 more to 10 more shots rang out. It seemed like they were firing into a lifeless body. After that, the agents kind of like dispersed super quickly. They walk away. They make kind of like, it seemed like they made no effort to preserve the crime scene or nothing like that. Now, the reason I bring all this up is because there could be a time you're going through your prep, as you're going through your everyday carry, you go into the range, you carry your weapon. I have a weapon on me now, and no additional mags, but I do have a weapon on me. There is a likelihood that I encounter law enforcement on the daily, and it's our right to keep and bear arms for a number of reasons. It's also our right to film and protest, although like I've said plenty of times before, you ain't gonna catch me out there one of them protests. And if agents were to make their way to Dallas for whatever reason, it would have to be just a tremendous event that would draw me away from my family to protest in the streets. But also at that protest, I would probably be armed as long as it was lawful to be so. I could see myself in that scenario, whether I'm walking through the streets, going from A to B, and I have a weapon on me. I'm purposely in that area because I was supposed to be there, or I got a wild hair up my ass and I decided to go protest. Most likely I will have a weapon on me. You want to be able to know that training has occurred to the point where 5 to 6 grown ass men would have the ability to subdue me or someone else without putting some rounds down range. I mean, the first few shots, at least the first shot, seemed to be to the point where it could have hit one of his buddies. It could hit someone else on the street. It just seemed like a very dangerous shot. And it seems like that use of force should be the last in the line of the elevation of defense mechanisms and use of force versus what it seemed like second. Because also in that scrum, it seemed like that Pretti was getting beat on the head with either like pepper spray. I'll show you. A lot of people are saying they're thinking that he's getting beat over the head with a gun. I think he's getting beat over the head with a bottle of like pepper gel or OC spray, whatever they use. They probably use OC spray and not pepper gel, because from the looks of it, looks like that agent's holding it like this and hitting him with the pepper gel. I don't know if, I would hope an agent wasn't crazy enough to pistol whip someone when you can have a negligent discharge while you're beating someone with a pistol and your buddies are in a scrum. So I really think that it was pepper gel. I don't think it was a weapon, but that's kind of neither here nor there. It's the first reports is that some of these agents in the scrum had years of service as agents, some of them 8 years, 10 years. But because of the hiring surge right now in the Department of Homeland Security, I went on usajobs.gov just to see how many jobs are open to the public. DHS by far has the most, and mostly for administrative people that support Border Patrol or ICE, and they're hiring agents underneath DHS as well. And it says, I looked up the training. It says it's an average of 40 to 47 days, maybe 57 days of training to hit the streets as a ICE agent. I mean, is it like boot camp where you don't get the weekends off? Is it like 47 days straight? Like, could you in theory start January 1st and by like mid-February, you're walking around a city? A lot of people are trying to say that those agents aren't law enforcement. Listen, they are enforcing civilian law of immigration, so they are law enforcement. Okay, they're not police in the traditional sense. Maybe not 1801 agents as would be categorized as special agents under like DHS or FBI, but they're enforcing law. And in my opinion, I think there should be a little bit more training if you're going to put people in the streets engaging daily with the American public. That's why I land the plane and I talk to you guys about caution. Caution being that I 100% believe you should continue with your right and keep to bear arms. You should 100% continue with your right to not have to worry about unusual search and seizures or incriminating yourself under the 4th and 5th Amendment, or being able to protest and legally, lawfully assemble under the 1st Amendment. I just really want you to be cautious as you do these things, especially at any time. I mean, these agents seem to be surging in Maine. It easily could become Cleveland or Philadelphia or Pittsburgh, or, once they run out of the cities, they're looking for a city near you. I mean, it could be the hog processing plants in North Carolina, which I'm pretty sure there's some folks in there that are not legal immigrants, or some of the bourbon processing facilities in Kentucky, maybe even some of the cotton or cattle processing of the Dakotas or Iowa. There are places where it could go to next, and you could be that rancher who's open carrying. You can be that person in Texas who carries an AR in their bag like I do sometimes, or you can be that person that's just has a CCW in a fanny pack of a subcompact, and you're about to go watch your kiddo at a jiu-jitsu match at a local mall strip. You could find yourself running into these situations. I am a don't tread on me type of person. Right now, the government has come out with a narrative about the situation. The political aspects of it, I'm going to leave that to y'all, because the political aspects don't change how I think about how I'm going to do my daily life. ICE is categorizing the guy as a domestic terrorist. Some folks on the left are categorizing him as just innocent soul and showing all his photos. And after the investigation, there only really can be like the correct story, and I hope we get a good investigation to find out what happened. But these are the things that you have to think about as you continue to process and continue your prep and continue to think about how you interact in the world with your everyday carry. I literally was in Vegas at SHOT Show checking out Gen 6 Glocks, checking out Laguna Arms, checking out all these fantastic weapons I want to get my hands on. Also, I was in the same city of Vegas, absentmindedly walking into a building to go watch The Wizard of Oz at the Spear, not realizing I was going to have to go through security. And I had to throw away a $300 knife because I was like 4 miles away from my hotel and the show started in 6 minutes. Those are like, I had to disarm or no longer have a knife with me. And I literally had no way to defend myself other than fisticuffs because I was inside of a venue enjoying a show. Are you going to have to like purposely disarm yourself if you're going to be going in certain situations where there could be protests or where there could be a lot of people or there could be agents? I don't know. Those are things that I have to think about, and you really have to think about now. Are these going to be situations where we have to make those decisions? I hope not. I hope that we're able to get a good resolution in that the folks who are really about the Second Amendment. I've seen some gun owners organizations come out and condemn some of the early comments from the politicians, which is a good thing. I think that if your Second Amendment for everyone who has the right to carry it and not just the people that are wearing the jersey that you like. And you may find it an oxymoron that this guy is out there possibly protesting against agents, or he could have we don't know what his motives are. And this is the thing. We don't know if he was out there protesting against agents, if he was out there being a registered nurse wanting to render aid to people, or if he was out there because he wanted to quasi be a YouTuber and he was just trying to document what was going on. And I could see myself in those shoes. That's the part I can see. Although I tell myself I wouldn't get out there and protest and put myself in direct danger, if there was something I thought needed to be covered and I had a camera to do so, especially all these cameras I got laying around, I could see myself getting out there and documenting that shit. And if this same thing happened to me, other than the fact I'm 6'2", 230 pounds with dreadlocks, and I'm also black, the assumption probably wouldn't be that I was out there documenting. It would probably be that I was protesting. So we don't really know why he was out there. We don't know what was going on. These are things that we don't know. All I can say is I felt like a video needed to be made about this because I talk about Venezuela's of the world, the Irans of the world, how this could change the way you go about your daily life when it comes to your prep, your EDC, or just how you move around your space. This is also one of those scenarios as well. Comment down below. What do you think? Do you think that this influences the way you view the Second Amendment for some folks or for yourself? Are you still going to be picking up that new weapon for your CCW? Would you be pissed if your current CCW was taken by law enforcement? I think the things I have concerns with that objectively I think you should have concerns with as well is that the training on these agents probably could have been better. The fact that we have a photo of this weapon in a car seat, like a seat of a vehicle, concerns me because, at least from when I was in the Marine Corps, there was a chain of custody for shit. If you take a weapon or wallet or phone off of a suspect or a victim, there was a chain of custody. It had to be put in certain bags. It had to be put on like hoods of vehicles or trunks of vehicles, because DNA could be transferred from a seat or from different phalanges or from different people. And I think that picture summarizes a lack of training in like one photo. But what do I know? Just some guy here in Dallas smoking a cigar, drinking coffee, and filming a video. Still gonna carry. I've already decided how I'm gonna set aside a couple of $1,000s to get myself some of these weapons that I shot at SHOT Show. Side note, check out my SHOT Show video for some of the newest gear that I think that you should be checking out. And more on this to come. I'm gonna bang the rest of this out. First time stopping by, hit the subscribe button. I would love to have you part of the battalion. If this is not your first time stopping by, well, thank you once again for watching me run my grape. For everyone else, we'll speak soon.